Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Connie Balmer! Hey, Connie Balmer. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Connie Balmer. Yulibi is here. Thank you so much for being here. Lorna Williams, Mary H., Faithview, Lydia Washington. You're still up? Um, Let me see. Who else? Lola Love and Catherine Bryant. Yep. Some of the usual suspects. Let me see here. Okay. And let's see. Janice Goodrich is here. Anastasia. Yeah, you're in a different time zone too. And of course, Connie Balmer. Beverly Pottinger. Yes, Pottinger. Marvin Cato. Mama Jane. Okay. Well, it is way past my usual time, so I won't expect a lot of people tonight, but we'll make it do what it do. Um, oh, wait a minute. Oh dear, what did I do here? Oh, did I put that in the wrong one? Sure did. Um, oh, how do I undo that? That wasn't supposed to happen. Let me see. Oh Lord. Oh, okay, I could fix it. I could fix it. I'll put that there because that's where that belongs. And okay, disaster averted. So, you know what? I figured out what happened to the computer. I got an alert saying that my disk is full. You know how, like on Thanksgiving, when you had way too much, you've been overserved at Thanksgiving, and you kind of get up and you waddle away from the table and you go in the corner and you just kind of lay back, and next thing you know, you're snoring. Well, my trusty PC, the disk is full, and to perform up to standard, I just need to go through and get rid of a bunch of videos. As you know, I'm constantly making videos, and I have an external hard drive, but I just haven't done anything with it. So therein lies the problem is I really need to just clear away some stuff and we'll be fine. It'll be okay. Just a matter of finding the time to do it. But I'm going to have to do it real soon because other than that, I run the risk of having the computer crash, and that wouldn't serve anybody. So one of these days, I'm going to get around to it. Okay, so I am stalling while I change the thumbnail because I put the wrong thing there, and that would have been very awkward. So I got that straightened out, and I'm good. Let me bring up my slides, and we can get to talking. Although I'm going to bring up some old business. Well, not really so old. It seems to be persistent, but it's William again. William has put a bad taste in my mouth, and maybe I understand better now, maybe not. I don't want to make excuses for his behavior because we're all adults and we don't get a free pass, so why should he? But there are some things, and I will talk about that. So let me see here. Where am I? Got that. That looks good now. Oh, you know what? I need to turn on the troll spray. That's the one thing I didn't do was the troll spray. So I'm going to set it back for a week. So if you have subscribed, um, in less than a week. If you're more than 7 days, then you should be able to comment. But less than 7 days, you probably won't be able to comment because I usually go back for like a week so that people waiting patiently to say something crazy because they don't support the Sussexes, we can avoid that nonsense. And just, for the benefit of those of you that are hate watching, this is a very petty, very biasly Sussex space. So um, it may be jarring for people who, for some reason, think that that institution is the best thing in the world. But I don't have a problem with the institution. I just have a problem with the people in the institution, the men in gray suits, the some of the members of the royal family, especially those senior royals, have a big issue with them. But that is neither here nor there. So today is the 24th. Why is that up there already? That's interesting. Let's try that again. Oh, I already brought the slides up. No wonder. I'm more efficient than I give myself credit for. Okay. All right. Hello to Patricia Starkley, Gwen Daniels, Wanda MV, Beverly McCaskill. Um, okay. Sonia Johnson. Okay, I'm going to scroll all the way to the end. And I think Elaine Parker should be joining us soon. She's probably just waking up pretty soon. Hey, Black Queen. Ah, still that. Oh, okay. Let me do that one more time. That didn't take like I thought it would. Okay. So, yeah, so that's why I was having problems with my slides coming up and everything else. I just need to clear some space on this disk and I should be okay. Okay, delete that. Delete that. And okay, I'm going to try to bring up my slides one more time. Gosh, the sooner I do this, the better off we'll all be. I promise. Okay. Slides are coming. Hey, Leisha. Ballas World. I said little love, right? Carol Lunn. Okay. Oh, and also I have a short video that I just uploaded for and there's so many videos floating around for that 1805, is it? There's so many videos floating around. Okay, so I'm repurposing this thumbnail. Um, there we go. Still, that's not the one I wanted. Oh, Lord. Anyway, I'll change it later because it's better to just get started, I think. Oh, man. Nothing goes right when you're rushing. Okay. And all right. All right. So let's just go. So as we know, yesterday, hey Deidre Monkey, Harry and Meghan were guests of honor at Kevin Costner's 1805 live event. And what I learned, and I wasn't sure I could share the video, but you may have seen this one. The local television station, they knew, at least this one reporter, she knew Harry and Meghan was there. That's why there was such a big surprise when they came out because they had something like a little holding pen or a VIP area backstage. And oh, and by the way, uh, yes, Duchess of Advocacy. I was listening to her this morning and she said, didn't I say it? Wasn't I right? And yes, she was right. She was right. Now, whether or not that is going to be a good thing in the long run, time will tell. But Duchess of Advocacy, who I did leave a post for you all to watch it. I think it was the last thing that I post in the community tab. She said some weeks ago that it would probably be to the advantage of Harry and Meghan to be more public than private, meaning, to go out more, to be visible more, so that the photos, people seeking these photos and trying to sell their photos, they would probably lose value. And let's assume that perhaps the New York thing was the start of that. And because of New York, they were derailed. Okay. Because after the New York thing, you really have to evaluate whether or not that's a good move or not. Because with New York, what's the common denominator? Harry, Meghan, Doria, right? And then by the time of the Beyonce concert, once again, you had Harry, Meghan, Doria. So the only thing that happened in between Beyonce's birthday and that particular event was what happened immediately after they left from the award show. Well, that would have shaken up anyone. And it was a deliberate thing that was launched against him by the tabloid media. Um, and I'm just going to say, I don't know what's happening with that behind the scenes. Harry recorded. There has to be other videos out there. And so we're assuming that perhaps New York has launched an investigation. The police department has launched an investigation. Maybe they've already opened and closed that case, maybe not. Maybe behind the scenes, there has been some chatter about that. I haven't heard anything. Let me just say that I haven't heard anything. So I'm not saying that I've heard something about that because I haven't. As far as I know, it happened and that's the end of it. So I don't know if there was a crime broken. I don't know if there is a case to be made against someone, individual photographers, whichever agency were soliciting the photos. But I think that was the start of a new beginning for Harry, Meghan, and Doria. And so after that, maybe there was a period of adjustment, evaluation. And so let's say perhaps it started up again. And I'm going to agree with Duchess of Advocacy that if you are not visible, if you are as rare as Halley's Comet, it will cause people to be um, more hungry for your image and likeness. It doesn't mean that that solves a problem. It doesn't mean that it comes without risk, as evident by New York. With New York, the Sussexes were making themselves available for the press to take photos, not knowing that they were going to be followed, not knowing that there was going to be this dogged attempt to try to photograph them. So that backfired on the Sussexes. So let's hope that someone or some people or whatever have been put on notice about that, or maybe in the future, maybe nothing at all. It's hard to tell. Like I said, I don't know what laws may have been broken, but there is video evidence. There has been no mention of it. There's whatever Harry had on his phone, and then there's whatever ring cameras, shop cameras, and street cameras. There's whatever was available there. So don't be surprised if there's nothing to be seen from that. Maybe they just want to move on and forget about it. Whatever the case may be, I think this is a good thing because imprisoning oneself, whatever the situation is just as detrimental as everything else that could possibly happen. Safety comes first, though. Safety does come first. I will never, ever say to put yourself in harm's way. It is not without risk, but for what their goals are, maybe they have decided, okay, we're going to do something different now because the pandemic is over. We're here, we're settled, we're key players in Hollywood, right? behind the scenes, of course, but they have a production company to run. And yes, there's a lot of people who work remotely. That's, very easy to do nowadays. But at the same time, the selfish part of me says, I want to see more of Harry and Meghan. But the sensible, intellectual part of me says, um, I want them to be safe. First and foremost, I want them to be safe. But I would love to see them without the paparazzi photos. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to look at the pap photos. I just want to see them being empowered, being loved up by the people in the community, doing their charity work. When they first left, I envisioned them going about the country doing universal service, doing the same things that they've always done, even before they met each other. That was my vision for them. However, I am not the person responsible for them. They're responsible for themselves. So it's not my call. But it does make sense that if you are seen rarely, that is only going to make people more determined to try to snap that photo of you. They're going to do it anyway. That's the whole point. They're going to do it anyway. And the reason why I know this is because it's been Harry's life so far. And if you use the model, if you use John Kennedy Jr. as a reference, they never really left him alone. The only thing is, it was a life he was born into, so he was used to it. But for his spouse, it was devastating. So that is still something to consider. But I think that Duchess of Advocacy was onto something. And I didn't necessarily disagree with it at the time. I was just like, that's something to think about. That is really something to think about. And there is a point to be made. There's something to consider there, that if you are almost invisible most days, then it only, I guess, enhances that hunger for photos at whatever cost. So hopefully the novelty has worn down. Again, this does not come without risk. Um, they're in a good state where laws are in place to protect people from being stalked, whether it's a paparazzi or not. Stalking is stalking, and they do have laws against that. So I also hope that the Sussexes can insulate themselves with as much wealth as possible so that they can remain safe at all times, because that is the most important thing, is for their safety, the children's safety, um, and of course anybody who's with them. You want them to be safe as well. You don't want some innocent person to be caught up in some chase or something like that. So it's a nasty bit of business, this whole thing with the paparazzi, but it is a fact of life. They are not going anywhere, but you still have to live your life. And um, that's what I'm hoping that they can do, is that they can strike some kind of balance, not make a deal with the paparazzi, not make a deal with the tabloids, but just strike some kind of a balance where eventually there won't be so much hunger for the rare, odd photo, like, oh, she just left the dental office. What is that on her wrist? Hopefully, we don't have to see something as invasive as that again, because that was very invasive. And the way Americans feel about them compared to the British and the tabloid media, it's a different country, and it's a whole different standard where celebrity and popularity is concerned. And unfortunately, some of the worst traits of the American media actually is something that we inherited from the British media, because there are a lot of Brits that have come to the US, and I've seen them working for hometown newspapers. I mean, you look up some of these reporters, and you find out where they started. You find out where their careers originated, and they found out they made more money here. And it's almost as though that there's some kind of like Manchurian candidate or code inside of them that they can be very innocuous about their bias or feelings in most articles they write. But the minute you throw the Sussexes in there, then that royalist comes out. That monarchist is spewing out of the words, and it's not hard to tell. It's just like, oh. And then you look them up and you find out what happens. That is a British reporter. That is someone who grew up in that system. And they have this us versus them mentality, although they're not in the royal family, but they feel like they have to protect that institution by bashing the Sussexes. So that is something that is there, although the tone is softened a bit for the purposes of an American audience. Those who haven't softened their tones, well, the Sussex squad has laid waste to them, haven't they? So, hello, cookies and cream. So, right here, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Oprah Winfrey, and Ellen DeGeneres joined Kevin Costner's charity event in Santa Barbara to honor first responders. The star studded 1805 Live event also featured a performance by Maroon 5. The fundraiser charged $12,000 per table. $12,000 per table, or as Oprah would say, lunch money. Let me stop because you know what? Oprah is the lightning rod for a lot of negativity. And to even make a joke like that is not good for her. So I'm gonna have to be careful. It'd be different if she wasn't the face of the 1%. But in spite of the fact there's plenty of people who have way more money than her, they always start with Oprah first and work their way out. Kim Coe says, Barron, because California law is progressive regarding celebrity privacy, there is a greater level of protection, especially for their children. Amen to that. And thank goodness for that. And yeah, you know, a lot of the tabloids, they were doing this whole gaslighting. Well, if they thought they were in trouble before, uh, they have gone to the heart of the paparazzis and blah, blah, blah. See, there's so many people that have such a small, have almost no understanding of California. And then, of course, there's even some people, some of the monarchists that read that garbage. And of course, even some of the tabloid reporters, some of them know better, some of them don't. The vastness of the United States and and how diverse the law enforcement, the laws, the how different how things differ from one state to the next. I think a lot of people underestimate that. They assume that it's all one big urban area and there's a few patches of green space, but 90% of the people in this country live in like metropolitan areas or in small towns here and there. But there are still a lot of people that live in rural areas. They don't understand the vastness of it. They don't. I mean, just like when you go to Scotland, when you go to Wales, in the U.S., it's like that. You go north, you go south. There's a whole different mentality. There's a whole different everything. It's not as though you're leaving the country and coming back, but there's some things that are the same. And then there's a lot of things that are just very different. And so Southern California, you know, it varies from county to county, from town to town. And there's no one size fits all. And so when you look at Montecito and you see how people live, this idea that, oh, their neighbors are sick of them. Do they ever see their neighbors? I mean, I've lived in apartment buildings and I've only ever seen a handful of people that live in a building that has 100 units. And I see the same handful of people, but yet the building is full. So if that happens to me in an apartment building, what must it be like when you own 5 and 6 acres here and there and you live with hedges high as the house? You don't go anywhere without your car. There's a vast difference compared to, living in Stoke-on-Trent or whatever. It's just very different. And I think that they play on people's ignorance to make people believe that there's this growing mentality, just like this whole thing about William is so sexy and how Americans are taken to William and how become some kind of a pinup. That is playing on people's ignorance about this country. Thank you, Kim Coates. Just like there's a lot of things about the UK I'm completely clueless about. Although I am open-minded enough to say, "Hey, I don't know. I don't pretend to know." But then there's some things that I'm reasonably certain about. And right there is the group shot. And I do have a video for this little scene here. Let me grab that video. Uh, Oprah and Meghan just. Oh, there's music. Let me turn that music down. I forgot about the music. Okay, here goes. So you can see there's Oprah in front of Harry, and you can just see Meghan's coat right there. So let's do that again. Yes, there you go. One more time. One more time. Now remember, Oprah is supposed to have kicked the Sussexes to the curb. She is so fed up with them. She has been up gnashing her teeth at night and envisioning the Sussexes being paraded around Montecito while people throw $100 bills at them. Oprah has envisioned Meghan being covered in a Carolina Herrera gown and Harry in a Dior suit while neighbors are throwing $100 bills at them. She's been up gnashing her teeth. So, oh man. Yeah, I mean, you could just barely see, but yeah, there you go. And it looks like Meghan is a little taller than Oprah because Oprah is probably wearing flats because of her. I think she had a knee replacement or two. And of course, Meghan is wearing heels. How about that? Yeah, I didn't. I guess I must have seen a different angle the first time, and I didn't see Oprah. Um, yeah. Well, anyway, there you go. So, how's about that? Um, that's the group that they were mingling with over there. So yeah, and then of course, like I said, the people in the audience they had no clue. I mean, the people that were out on the other side of the stage, it was a secret. It was quoted as being, I guess, a secret guest of honor or something like that. And yeah, so they had no idea that the Sussexes were there. Oh, but they were in for a surprise. They were definitely in for a surprise. Let me see if I can find that video. Uh, is this it? Actually, I think this is a video that I haven't shown yet. At least I don't think I've shown. I put this on the shorts, but I don't think I've shared this with you. So, not on the live. So let me do this one. How about that? Harry is just such a social butterfly, isn't he? Good night, Rohini. I didn't realize you were here, but good night. Thank you so much for joining us for a brief amount of time. And I hope you're feeling better. I take it you are out of the hospital. I did not ask. I do apologize for that. You see, Levy says, I know they are the moment when people who paid $12,000 or 1,200, was it 1,200 or 12,000, are taking the pictures of them. The tabloids need to shush. You know, Yulibi, let me see. If I could at least play the sound from that video. Let me see if I put that in my thumbnail. Well, I mean, in my bookmark, because the reporter, she mentioned that the people, you know what, I did not put that in my thumbnail. I mean, I did not bookmark that one, I think. But the reporter was saying how these people in this very tawny hamlet that they live in. Oh, okay, maybe this is it. Let me try this one. And you can hear the reaction from the reporter. First responders. Festivities will continue for several hours, and it's all happening right here at Kevin Costner's estate. Right now, I think right behind me. Okay, that sounds terrible. Let me try this one. Super Group in Room 5. Organizers believe this is an incredible opportunity to bring the community. Okay, that's got music. That's not going to work. But anyway, she was saying that you could see all these people holding their phones up, and before the thing, she said that, she was covering this. And apparently, locally, this is a big event. And she was saying that people didn't know, and that they were sworn to secrecy. That's what I love, is the reporter knew, but she didn't say. And then after, she reported that, how excited and everybody was, and how they were holding their phones up and everything. Yes, Baron, I escaped the doctor's clutches and used bush tea. Feeling much better, and happy Republic Day to Trinidad and Tobago squatties. Oh, is it Republic Day? Thank you for telling us. Well, happy Republic Day, Trinidad and Tobago. Rohini, if I could ever fish out my Trinidad keychain that someone gave me, I would love to show it to you. I used to collect keychains. I don't know how many I have. I stopped collecting years ago, but that was one that I was very proud of, and I believe it was the shape of Trinidad. Yeah, it was the shape of Trinidad, and of course, it had the flag on as the background and everything. So, if I could ever find that thing, why? Well, if I know where the keychains are, I'll show it to you. I know it's with the collection. But good night, and I hope you feel much, much better day after day. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Hello, Linda Makins. Did you miss much? Not really. Yeah, that's what I thought I saw. 12,000. That's what I thought I saw. Um, but yeah, yeah. Anyway, too bad I couldn't play that. But yeah, she was like really excited to talk about it. And that's what happens. Is just that the Sussexes, they bring a lot of excitement. They really bring a lot of excitement to an event. And I feel bad feeling this like need to justify and explain, but at the same time, I don't feel bad because I still want to push against the negative narrative because I feel like if you let up, if you retreat, or if you try to be better than, then they get away with it. They get away with the gaslighting. They get away with the lies and the accusations and such. And of course, the Sussex squad, if nothing else, we bring a lot of receipts. Oh, why did I do that? That's not what I was looking for. Yeah, that's not what I was looking for. Okay. Let me get that out of here before I end up doing that again. Um, I know what I'm looking for. Uh oh, this is it.
Turn. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
I wonder how that went down over at Kensington Palace. I think to try to distract from it, they've come up with some cock and bull story like Harry um, has to ask permission before he stays at a royal residence. They want to show that they're still in control. They want to show they want to make it. I guess they are trying to make people believe that, in spite of the fact that Harry, I'm just going to say it, he's flush with cash. Do you hear me? Harry and Meghan, they are loaded. And if they are traveling anywhere, not anywhere, but anywhere, they can afford to stay in a fine hotel. As a matter of fact, considering that someone scaled the wall of the Windsor Castle or jumped the gate or whatever, considering that someone managed to jump the gate and to try to go after the royal family with a crossbow in 2022, considering that happened, I think Harry would be safer staying on like the, I don't know, the 10th or 12th floor of some fine 4 or 5 star hotel. I think he'd be a lot safer there than staying at one of those dusty old castles any day of the week. Not to mention, if Harry is traveling, obviously he has his team with. This is why this doesn't make sense. If he's traveling and he's traveling on business, obviously he has his team with them, right? And of course, he has his what do you call it? His personal protection. They're going to get paid whether or not they're protecting him. They're still going to get paid. I mean, they're getting what they make, and you know, oh, you can stay, but your royal, I mean, your personal protection cannot. Whatever the case may be, I don't even care to speculate it. I think it's a bunch of nonsense. And again, I would feel safer. Just like I'm not a fan of Airbnb because I don't know what happened in that place before I got there. I'd rather stay in a hotel, something more public, something more protected, I would say, than to stay in someone's residence where the last thing that happened there may have been some type of movie. Maybe someone made a movie there or had some kind of whatever. That's just the way I feel about it. And that's the same way I feel about Harry traveling to the UK. I'd rather he stay either at a friend's house or to stay in a hotel. I wouldn't want him to stay at one of those royal residences, especially if he's the only one there. I mean, why wouldn't he stay with his cousin? Didn't he stay with his cousin before? I mean, there's a hole in that story that you could drive a truck through.
Towards them. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Okay, so the first award is to Alexa Fullerton.
You see what I mean? In order to try to take the shine off of this moment, in order to take the shine off that moment, they decided that they would play the they would play this game of oh, he doesn't get his way over here. Let's just call it that. Let me see. Tash Max says, oh, that was for someone else. I'm sorry. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay. Well, and then too, um, depending on what type, I mean, I'm going to imagine that they have a good credit score and whatever plastic they use, I'm sure that they got all kind of benefits attached to it. I mean, after all, they own a production company, right? And if there's a pool of benefits from that production company, then I mean, they could even stay at a nice place and not pay so much for it. A lot of companies do that where they'll pool their a pool that is their points so that they can upgrade each other or whatever. Rahini says, I would not be surprised if they buy a home in the UK. It would be safer. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of well-off people in London, as we know, or if they stay in the countryside, there's a lot of towns where they would be very safe. Um, if they stay right outside of London, I mean, they don't have to be in the Great Windsor Park or something like that to be safe. Plus, as I had mentioned before, I don't know if they have worked out anything, but I do know this much. When Harry went to court, there was a police escort. There was a police escort for that last court visit. Was it 1 or 2 days or something like that? Or I think it was, or was he there for like a week? But anyway, I know I saw the police, a police car with him. So, and then let me see, what was the other occasion when he was in a one of the Range Rovers? So they may have worked some stuff out and just do not want to say anything about it. Um, or maybe not. Maybe it's something that he has worked out for himself. Whatever the case is, I trust him to know what he needs to do to be safe in his own country. I mean, that's where he's from, and he knows how to keep himself safe. It's because the thing is, he's not without resources, right? So, but anyway, thank you so much for that, Rohini. He's not without resources. It'd be different if he had to be dependent upon the institution for everything. Let me see. Uh, they had a body language expert? Oh, did they? I kind of thought that that was kind of baked into it, that they could not have one. Legs is here. No one cared for Baldy's vanity stop in New York City. Barely anyone watched it live. The same can't be said for Invictus Game. No one cared about Tampon either. The jealousy is eating them alive. Yeah, you know what, Legs? I forgot about that. Harry had all of this like whirlwind publicity for his Invictus thing, which actually started with the Whale Child. And then, of course, there was low ratings for Charles going to Paris. We all saw the empty streets as he went to take that victorious ride down the Champs Elysees. I mean, there was no one there. It was so empty, just a handful of tourists that would have been walking through there anyway. They had all those barriers up there for nothing. And then, of course, they put some grandstands around the Arc de Triomphe for all of the bureaucrats and their families and such. So that gave them some semblance of a crowd, but not much. And yeah, so I mean, it's easy to grab people out of the offices and everything. But what happened with the Sussexes was very organic, especially with the Invictus Games. There were people that lived in the area that just poured into the place. There were a lot of people that, as the days went on, the popularity had increased because, people were telling each other, I went to the Invictus Games. That's great. And such and such and such and such. And it just grew. Everyone was surprised. What was 125,000 people went through the Invictus Games? 125,000 visitors. So that's a good number. It's a doggone good number. Okay. And let's see, go here. So, John Palmentary says Prince Harry chatted with many guests at the 1805 Live fundraiser for first responders in the Carpinteria Valley Friday. The night raised funds for special wellness services for Santa Barbara County first responders. Meghan was nearby sharing the event with attendees. So there you go. There you go. This is just what someone noticed. And then some people have been um, concerned about the some of the people in the background. They were just kind of staring at the Sussexes. Someone mentioned that last night, and then I saw a post about that today, but I don't know what to make of that. Not everybody is going to love you, and there will be the odd person that is going to try to stare you down, or perhaps that's just their resting Karen face. I don't know. I don't know, but it is something to think about. But again, we don't want them to have to retreat from their public life. Um, I'd rather see them out and enjoying themselves, and I think, as they say, living well is the best revenge, because when they run those articles and they make out like you're such a terrible person and that nobody likes you, and it's hard to counter that if you cannot see the people um like this. It's hard to counter that. it gives them the last word. Fair or unfair, like it or not, it gives your enemy the last word when all they hear is how much nobody cares for you. And then, of course, they notice that you're nowhere to be found. It almost seems like there's some truth to it. Now, of course, no one here in the Sussex squad accepts that as a fact, but it is something to think about. It is something to think about. This looks so much better than just having all of like because think about it. They were trying to make out like they were on the verge of divorce, you know? And then we see the Invictus games and everything was organic. It was not contrived. It was their usual selves. The concert, their usual selves. They weren't they and the papers didn't even try to pretend otherwise because they knew better. They knew that would make them look even worse. So I'm glad for it. I'm glad for it. And within reason, I hope to see so much more of this. So Rohini, oh, that was Ruth. What is that? Ruth Kalmilla. Oh, okay. Let me see here. I should get a facelift. Well, at least one of them is actually getting what is it? Botulism. One of them is getting a botulism lift with mixed results. I mean, filler can only do so much for you. The dangerous thing about the filler is with the absence of it, everything. And oh, and then they found out that sometimes when people get the fillers, that it migrates. It migrates. It's not supposed to. And then they say, oh, well, in 4 months it's all going to dissolve anyway. No, in 4 months it's going to travel. It takes longer than that in some cases for it to go away. And when they, I guess they did x-rays or whatever, and they can see that it's not where it was supposed to be. So got to think about that before you choose to start doing that. Is how much of that migration can you take before you start looking like Ingrid Seaweed or Seaword or whatever her name is? How much of that can you get done before you start looking like Ingrid? Like an old basset hound. Uh, Deputy dog. Prince Harry. Let me see. Oprah Maroon 5. Did I do this? Oh, this is a different one, right? Thousands attend the one-on-one fundraiser. Did I do this already? A star-studded Eve. Should that be event? A star-studded event, which they put even. That's a screenshot, so I think that's a typo. Which include Oprah Winfrey, Ellen, and pop music band Maroon 5 raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for Santa Barbara County's first responder. The nonprofit group 1805 staged a massive concert at Kevin Costner's estate in Summerlin Friday night. The event features music by Maroon 5, classic rock star John Fogerty, the band, what is that, Dishwalla, and more. Well, this was a big event, huh? Prince Harry and Meghan Markle took part in the ceremony to honor some community leaders supporting first responders. They included realtor Adam McCraig. That was the guy with the gray hair that you can see him right there. He has the black shirt with the stripe on the collar. That's Adam McCaig, not Craig, McCaig, Adam McCaig, who founded the volunteer group Adam's Angels. How cool is that? 1805 was founded in the wake of the Thomas Fire and Montecito debris flow, which holdings after After holding a concert to thank first responders, they decided to create an organization to raise money to pay for equipment and training they need. I wonder if this is a volunteer fire department or are some of the people volunteers? In some towns, they have volunteer fire departments because they can't really afford to pay for a full. So I'm just wondering if they might have volunteers from the community. One of the projects currently funded by 1805 is free confidential counseling for firefighters in Santa Barbara County. Maybe they're not volunteers, but yeah, some towns do have volunteer fire departments though. So there you go. And of course, um, well, anyway, I'm not going to say it. Now, coming soon to a to a royal princess near you, Copycat. Copycat is already sampling different styles and variations of Meghan's poncho so that she will be ready to wow the 3 or 4 people that follow her by wearing something very similar. I could assure you of that. Um, she's had plenty time. She's had plenty time to find something, so expect to see this very soon on a Princess of Wales near you. While supplies last, recollections may vary. I saw that on the Twitter today and I thought I was going to scream. That was so funny. So, let me see. This was from yesterday. But yeah, you can see the Sussexes mixing and mingling. I'm just going to go through these yesterdays very fast. I love this. I love this photo right here. Notice that the photographer made sure that they got the Sussexes in the background. Very, very cool. You done good, Harry and Meghan. You done good. Love that photo right there. If only I can get that guy out. Well, I already did get him out of there, didn't I? Because I did this. So that was one way to deal with him is to just, cut her out of that photo and put her someplace by herself. Okay. Now back over here. Elaine Parker. Hi, Elaine Parker. You have no sound? Oh no, that's terrible. I'm sorry. Oh, I wonder if Elaine came in on that part where there was no sound. Remember when I turned the sound down? Maybe she's on that part. Hello, Ivy here. I haven't said that in so long. Hello, Ivy here. Bye for now. Bye from Ivy. Bye. I love saying that. Bye for now. Bye from Ivy. Bye. Hello, Ivy here. Oh God, I love saying that. I haven't said that in so long. I just realized that. I wonder if I'm losing it. Hello, Ivy here. Bye for now. Bye from Ivy. Bye. Oh man. It doesn't take much to make me happy. You know that, don't you? All I have to do is let out a couple of those, hello, Ivy here. And it seems like the sun has just popped up in the sky. Now, let's get to her. That, ladies and gentlemen, is not a gargoyle. That is Sharon Osbourne. Sharon Osbourne, who never met a plastic surgeon that she hasn't tried, didn't like. Sharon Osbourne, who most people just call Sharon Osbourne, she and her family have had a lot to say. Now, I'm not going to play anything from that awful exchange that they were having. But as they say, those who live in glass houses really ought not throw stones. So leave it to the Sussex Squad Detective Agency with their receipts. With their receipts. The Sussex Squad, we keep receipts. We do. We keep our receipts. And so I'm going to add these to my collection. Wait, what does that say up there? Let me pull that down for a second. Yeah, somber, somber, somber. How would you know the difference? She always looks like she's kind of down. But somber Sharon Osbourne visits cemetery where her father, Don Arden, is buried to film a new reality series 15 years after his death. And I don't know about you, but whoever that is with her seems to be kind of smiling and having a good time. And of course, Sharon would smile, except, she's had so many adjustments that it's difficult for her. But Sharon Osbourne looks somber as she recently visited the Manchester Cemetery where her father, Don Arden, is buried 15 years after his death. The 70-year-old, um, let me see, the star 70, it says, who was estranged from who was estranged from Arden for 20 years. She was estranged from her father for 20 years before reconciling in 2001. So from 1981 to 2001. Now, most of us, if not all of us, lived through 1981 to 2001. If I recall, that was a long time. I mean, anything could have happened from 1981 to 2001. And that seems like a awkward amount of time to not speak to one's parent. So, this is the same person who is so concerned about the Sussexes and their children and how are they going to manage and um but she's got this in her past. This is part of her story right here. Elaine Parker, thank you so much for the super sticker. And good morning to you. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. So, yeah, she's got this going on in her past. And yet she's got all these judgments for the Sussexes. She's worried about the quality of the Sussex children's lives, but she grew up in a well, not grew up, but she, as an adult, she lived in a household where, from all accounts, there seemed to have been some pretty loud exchanges, which have grown physical over time, according to her. Also the language that they use in that household, the fact that you invite cameras into the family's home so that you can allow producers allegedly to coerce storylines from you and your family. I don't see the Sussexes doing something like that. I just don't. And well, there's no Netflix contract for Sharon Osbourne. There probably never will be. But look at how she made her money. Very Kardashian of her, isn't it? Sharon wore a black coat with a fuchsia slacks as she arrived to pay her respects, accompanied by loved ones. Arden died on July 21st, 2007, age 81. So, following a battle with Alzheimer's disease, Sharon said Sharon did not attend his funeral, with a source telling The Sun at the time she was too traumatized to attend. Wow. 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 Too traumatized? Is that code for something else? Or was she too traumatized? I wonder. Sharon and Ozzy met when she was just 18 years old through Don, who was the manager of Ozzy's metal band, Black Sabbath. Oh, okay. Well, that explains it. Isn't that something? Uh oh. I'm afraid to look. Let me go back and take a look. Uh, oh, didn't they have a song on Schoolhouse Rock? So I unpatched. Wait a minute. So I unpacked my adjectives and I unpacked my adjectives. Well, somebody's been unpacking the adjectives. uh, yes, the Sussex Squad Detective Agency has really been dragging her. And Ivy says Sharon is clout chasing. She wants to let people know she is still alive. Nobody cares. Yeah, okay. Do you remember when she first left her job at the television show? And Hoghead Pierce Morgan said, "It's not a matter of Sharon looking for work. There's work looking for Sharon Osbourne." And he was talking all that stuff about how Sharon Osbourne wasn't through yet and that somebody would be coming for her any minute now and she's just waiting for the right vehicle or whatever he was saying. But he said that she wasn't looking for work, that there was work looking for her. Well, now we know she's the one hunting for opportunity. There's nobody. That was her last big hurrah. The only other time we've seen her on television was mostly with her appearing on Pierce Morgan's uh, thing, but that's about it. She might do a little like panel piece here and there, but otherwise, Pierce Morgan had her on a few times, which is the least that he could do because he's kind of one of the reasons why she ain't working no more. Oh, wait, what was that right there? Sharon Osbourne didn't talk to her father for 20 years. This is from a squatty. Tried to run him over, allegedly. She didn't attend his funeral, claiming to be too traumatized, but she did manage to visit his grave 15 years later as part of her reality show. Sharon should keep her trap closed about Meghan. And at the bottom it says, oh, yeah, that was reality series 15 years ago. Okay. So that article came out in February 2023. That was earlier this year. So over here, let's go for some more receipts, shall we? Um, Exclusive. Sharon Osbourne slams weak brother David as a money grabber and says he's jealous of her family's success. An angry Sharon says, "We call him Fredo after a weak son," or is it Fredo, after a weak son of the Godfather who sold the family out. That's my brother. Ouch. Now she's adamant that she never wants her children, Amy, Jack, and Kelly, to speak to her brother again despite his pleas for contact. But I thought that, I mean, didn't they, shouldn't they? Okay. Uh, they've not spoken to him in 9 years, but he pops his head up every now and then. Well, that sounds like the Markle family, doesn't it? She claims it seems as he wants us, I'm sorry, it seems all he wants is our money. I want absolutely nothing to do with him. He knows nothing about my life and he, oh, wait a minute. Wait. He knows nothing about my life, but they're siblings. And don't siblings know everything about you, even if you haven't seen them in 10 years? Anyway, he doesn't know my children. David knows that everything is going to my kids, but he seems to think he gets a few hundred grand out of my husband in his will, even though he said horrible things about Ozzy behind his back. It's disgusting. So, you see how hypocritical that is? He knows nothing about my life. And she's the one that was on a reality show with her family. And you know how that is if you're in a reality show. Seems like people would know more than not, right? And here you have the Sussexes, uh, the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan, who, let's see, at the time when she married, when she first became this global phenomenon, because of that marriage, she was already famous, but she was just beneath the radar in that sweet spot where she wasn't being chased by the paparazzi. Marriage did not, you know, keep that status. Marriage into that family, in part because of the hate campaign and such, has really turned it into a circus. It's the hate campaign that made it a circus. Now, surely, um, Harry, being this international figure, marrying someone who actually done very similar work for most of her life, by them marrying, they have become a tour de force power couple. A power couple. Even people who may not have known Harry's name before, everybody knows who Harry is. Harry is the most popular member born into that family. Meghan is the most popular, period, right? So that's where they are right now. And even with all that, I would say that her siblings know very little about her since childhood. Her brother probably knows more than her sister does. But in spite of that, you cannot keep them off of television. I mean, when was the last time she ever was in the same household with them? And yet, some 20, 30 years after that, they feel like they know everything about her. When the truth is, they don't know anything, very little. So I can understand that. Very interesting to hear Sharon say, he doesn't know anything about my life. All right, if you say so, you were the one on reality TV. Let's see. Shells Bell says, "Good night, Baron and Squatties. I just realized that Baron was on. Got up to make sure I set my alarm for 6 a.m. Wake up and saw Royal Sussex on. Well, I'm not going back to bed. I have, I am going back to bed. Have a great podcast. Thank you so much, Shells Bells. Okay. Okay. Let's see. And this is precisely why Meghan and Harry keep their business to themselves. We will never see Meghan speaking about anyone that way. Haters talk about her. She has too much dignity, and I love that. Well, at the very least, wait for the book. Wait for the book. I mean, she writes a book. Now, the thing is, she may not write a book for a long time, but at least I say wait for the book. And you know what? And when I say wait for the book, I mean only to share what she wants to share. And also, like Harry did with his book, at least that way we'll know what the truth is. Because other than that, if you let your enemies define you, then they are telling your story. And you really can't allow that. So, not writing a book, I don't think that's an option if you really want people to know what the truth is. There's only one person who can tell that truth, and that's Meghan. And whenever she's ready, I'm ready. No rush. But when Meghan tells her truth, I believe that it's going to be so compelling that all of the lies are just going to evaporate. All of the lies are going to evaporate because so far, who has been telling people about Meghan's childhood? A couple of grifters, three grifters at that. Three grifters have been defining Meghan's childhood because she has said very little about it. So that's the truth that I'm looking for. Um, an accurate depiction of the actual events, according to Meghan, and not these other people. We may never get that, and we may have to be satisfied to never know, but I think it will be part of a permanent record if she chooses to do that, and I hope she does. I really hope she does. Thank you so much for your comment. Okay, so a receipt for the next time Sharon Osbourne opens her, what is that, fetid gob? To insist that Meghan accept what she would never accept for herself. Exactly. She wants Meghan to accept the stuff that she could not accept for herself. How insulting. Don't you dare. You better not cry. Remember that? Don't you dare cry. No, you better not, don't you dare cry. I mean, she sounded like the Wicked Witch of the West. Don't you dare, you better not cry. Don't you dare cry. I was like, my God. And then she hopped on her broom and zoomed out of the studio. You better not cry. Don't you dare cry. You better not cry. I was like, who is she talking to? You better not, don't you dare cry. Uh-huh. Okay. That's what we're doing? Yeah, she was like, you better not, don't you dare cry. And what happened after that? Fired. So within 24 hours of Hoghead running out of the ITV studios, is it? He calls Sharon Osbourne, allegedly, trying to coach her into saying something to help him. And what happened? Fired. Fired. And just like him, she fired herself. This is what gets me. Once in a lifetime, you might find somebody dumb enough to fire themselves, but twice? Piers Morgan fired himself. He did. He's the one that ran out of the studio. And then, of course, Sharon Osbourne, don't you dare, you better not cry. Don't you dare cry. All they did was ask her about Piers Morgan. And then all of a sudden she went into a meltdown. And she was so afraid that she was going to be accused of something that she was the one who said it. And then after that, she's the one who walked away. Nobody said, don't come back. At least I don't think so. It was so strange. It was very strange. And then it seemed like she tried to record it so that she could use it for evidence, and it still didn't make anybody look bad except for her. How do you do that? How do you go to work and fire yourself? How do you tell somebody, don't you dare cry? And they ain't even said nothing. All she did was bring up the topic. And next thing you know, Sharon Osbourne was having a meltdown. Now, either you're more like Piers Morgan, or more like the R word, if you will, than we've ever given you credit for. And she was afraid that she was going to get put on the spot. So if you ask me, Pierce Morgan is the one that got her terminated. Let's see. The next book she writes will be for little girls and and Lily Diana. Her bio, if she does do it, will probably be in about 10 years. I think after they have a conversation with the kids about what happened. Yeah, that makes sense. Or we may never get one at all. Um, Oprah was going to write one, and then she decided that she wasn't. After the fact, she wasn't ready to release it. And then since then, I don't know that she's ever come close to like really telling the whole story. And again, we may never get it. It's not without risk, that's for sure. So there's that little gargoyle right there. Don't you dare cry. Sharon Osbourne, Ozzy and I used to beat the crap out of each other. Booze control. Sharon Osbourne reveals husband Ozzy's party favors abuse in front of their kids left her heartbroken. Now, are you saying that your husband was doing things in front of the kids that left you heartbroken, and you are the arbiter, the model, the very model of what the Sussexes ought to try to live up to, like not talking to your father for 20 years, not allowing your brother to have a relationship with the rest of the family. And then here we're talking about what could be, something major. And yet you're trying to tell the Sussexes what to do. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. Now, I'm done with Sharon. I'm going to move on to this. And I don't want to stay on too long because I see it's already an hour and a half. But this is what I was talking about earlier. Oh, let me see what Lex says here. Lex says, which got too big for her boots. She was afraid of the water. I'm melting. I'm melting. Have to give it to her for self-preservation. It should have behooved her to call it a day. Yeah, well, you know what? When she walked out of that, what is she, 70 years old? Legacy television is dying. Okay. Legacy television is dying. Her days of reality shows are long gone. The kids have kind of aged out of it. It would be odd that her and her adult kids would be living under the same roof like that again. So it's pretty much over for her. I don't see where she reinvents herself. There's too many other more interesting people out there that could fill those spaces that she once filled. So it's over with. Pierce Morgan was wrong. Pierce Morgan is only able to work at this time because of his relationship with the tabloid media, because of some of the things that he has been accused of where tabloid media is concerned. So there's a reason why Pierce Morgan can keep a job, but Sharon Osbourne, unless her husband revives his music career, I don't know that she has anything coming. I don't see where there's a future for Sharon Osbourne on television. That kind of television is declining, and there's no room for gargoyles. You know what? I should write a book about her and call it No Room for Gargoyles. Thank you so much for your comment, Lex. Okay, let me see. Am I the only person on earth who doesn't have an Ozempic space? Yes, I've heard about the Ozempic space where the face is sagging was smart, she would stay away from that and stress. She need any let me see, she doesn't need any fillers and would age gracefully like our Duchess. Well, maybe. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Ugly on the inside, ugly on the outside. She might need something. She might need something, and it wouldn't be fair to try to hand her a paper bag. So, okay. But anyway, I'm going to move on. So, I can't stop thinking about this. I really cannot stop thinking about this. I'm thinking about that $1 million, right? The alleged $1 million. It's unfair. No one has seen it. Well, I suppose they were talking about the statue, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, this is the headline from their meeting when they unveiled the statue to Diana. And I suppose at the time, the, what do you call it? The, that reporter right there, whatever his name is, remember he did that documentary about um, Harry and his brother? And by the time we saw the documentary, it had been watered down so much that it barely resembled the preview. It seemed like the BBC has a target on them, but not from William, but from the tabloid media. And that is why I cannot stop thinking about it, because it seems as though William may have been able to negotiate a good relationship with the press, right? Maybe he was able to negotiate a mostly positive relationship with the press. And as we say, the calls are coming from inside of the house, right? We know that there were leaks. As a matter of fact, if there's any truth to this thing about Harry asking to stay at the palace, even though I doubt it, if there's any truth to that, then it would have likely have been leaked from one of the houses of Windsor. That's the only thing that makes sense. Or it may just be a big lie that has been orchestrated by one of those houses of Windsor. So Will and Kate bin BBC, meaning that they are done with the BBC. They switched the Christmas concert special to ITV. Huh, that's interesting. They don't want to be on the publicly licensed BBC anymore. They want to go to the ITV, where they are sympathetic to them. Royal fury over biased Harry and Meghan documentary. So they were upset about that documentary from this guy, the one about the brothers. But the thing is, if I recall, didn't they actually say that they weren't going to show it on BBC before the documentary aired, or was it after? That part I don't recall. But I do recall that they decided to have a very public disagreement with the BBC. But that's not where it stops. Like this one right here. I think it started here. Maybe it started here. And that was, of course, the BBC's lies ruined my mother's life. One more time. Did he write this, or was this part of a deal after he settled with the tabloids? Was this after he settled with Rupert Murdoch? Is that where it happened? Because that speech he read that day, it puts all of the responsibility on the BBC and Martin Bashir. Now, if you look right there in the pocket of the helicopter, well, that is the Daily Mail. I can't make out the other paper. It may be the Sun. It may be the Telegraph. To be honest with you, I can't make out that other paper. but it looks like there's another paper behind. It looks like there's maybe up to 4 newspapers in that pocket. Daily Mail up front and closest to the passenger seated on that side, which of course would be William. So all of a sudden, he's getting favorable press. All of a sudden, they have decided to paint him as the sexiest man alive. Never. Um, and it seems like all of his good fortune started at or around the time of that settlement. So the fracture between the two brothers, I'm going to blame William for it. His jealousy, his pettiness, all of that, I'm just going to say is his fault. There seems to be a vendetta. There seems to be sibling rivalry and jealousy. And then, if that wasn't enough, it seems as though there's some type of agreement with the tabloids. It may have been a signed agreement. I mean, obviously, if you're going to pay someone that much money, somewhere north of £1 million, you're going to get something in writing. And of course, when there is a settlement, there is the gag order. You cannot discuss it, meaning that even if he wanted to, that he can't. Of course, once he becomes king, well, still he can be sued. They can still sue him. At least they can try. If he goes back on his word. I don't know. I just know that, well, I don't think so, because he can't be called to witness. So once he gets to be king, he'll be untouchable. He'll be untouchable, just like his father. So by him doing that, this is the ripple effect. The ripple effect is this is what he has left by way of royal family. And by the time he becomes king, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 or 8 of those people. No, maybe about 6 of those people. Maybe about 6 of those people won't be alive anymore when he becomes king, leaving him with his children, Kate, the Wessexes, and that's it. He's gonna and Princess Anne, who's gonna live forever, I'm convinced. But that's it. He won't have much left to work with, at least not in those early years. And so him chasing Harry away has truly put a hole in the future of the monarchy. Not to mention that Harry's book, the docuseries, has had a horrific impact on their reputation. They can't go to the Caribbean. That he's mostly responsible for that himself, but he's not really welcome to go to Australia after the Women's Cup or the finals. He's not really welcome there. He voted against Australia for even having what was it, the games there before or something. He voted against Australia, part of the Commonwealth, like a pay for play type of thing is the accusation, allegedly. So he has cut off his nose to spite his face. Feuds family is making Diana proud. Feuds family and making Diana proud. Yeah, that's it. Feuds family and making Diana proud. Well, let me see. They got at least 2 things right. There are feuds. He does have a family, but he's not making Diana proud. He's actually silenced his mother. He silenced his mother in spite of the fact that Diana said that those are her own words, no matter where they came from, despite the fact that Andrew Morton said the same thing. He's trying to silence his mother. Why would he do that? Because when they paid him that money, they could have possibly have paid to end not just any responsibility for the tabloid media, but actually for the Murdoch people, but for the entire tabloid media in one stroke. The future king, whose mother died tragically in a tunnel in Paris, pretty much gave a free pass to the tabloid media and put all the blame on the BBC and Martin Bashir. Now, this is the other part of William that bothers me, is that when it comes to reading the room, he's tone deaf. And by the time he becomes king, hopefully he would have gotten all of this revised colonialism out of his system. He has a template. There's the Sussexes showing you how to do a modern royal tour. That is the one thing that they left as a gift to that institution. And what happens? He tried to do so much, so different from his brother, that not only had he messed it up before, after they married and went on their Oceania tour, I mean, they're right at home. They are in their comfort zone. They're in their element. Look at Kate clapping and smiling, and William sitting there like the big chief and all that kind of stuff. Even though he's supposed to be a superior intellect, and you would think after all of that happened that you would get it right the next time, but no, you go and try again to be your grandmother, and it backfired in the most epic way. And then there's this. You invite the president, the black president of the United States, and his black wife to your house, and you got something like a effigy on your wall. And instead of taking it down, you put a lamp in front of it. Instead of taking it down, you put a lamp in front of it, as though you had to know that was there. This is a very valuable painting. And it was actually the tabloids that exposed it. This is the painting. There is a favorite black servant in a subservient position. He's holding the reins of the horse, which is what they usually do. If there's someone black in the painting, they're either holding the hounds or holding the horse, a basket of fruit. The only thing that is not typical is that he's not looking toward the white people in the painting. Usually they have them looking up at them, and their heads are much lower than, well, which is what you have here. Notice that even though he's mostly in the center, they must have thought a lot of him. Still, he's not looking directly at the painter, and he is on the lower level. And of course, that was literally and figuratively, he's still left on the lower level. And this was the painting that was in the living room when Barack Obama came to the house. Let's see. Audrey Teschner says, "Morning, Baron, mods, and all squad family around the world. Blessed Monday to all." Thank you, Audrey Teschner, and thank you for the silver sticker. And right here, Prince William, petulant Prince William. Prince William ends friendship with ITV's Tom Bradby over relationship with Prince Harry, claims report. So they did not correct it. They didn't say that, oh, that's not right. He wanted people to know, just like he ended his relationship with the BBC. I guess, even though Tom Bradby was working at ITV, he wanted to make sure that everybody knew that he is out of favor with me, the future king. The Duke of Cambridge is reported to be annoyed at the ITV newsreader for his relationship with his brother. Just like him going to New York and trying to get close to Jose Andres. In this instant, because he knows that Tom Bradby has actually showed some humanity to Harry and Meghan on their trip to South Africa, he had a fit about it and decided to lash out against Tom Bradby by making this public declaration leaked through someone from his camp. The relationship between the brothers is over. A friend of William and Kate's tell the Daily Beast the last Harry and Meghan episode won't make a great deal of difference. And that was from Tom Sykes. Whatever. But he wanted to make sure it was known that Tom Bradby was on the outs with him. I mean, who does that? I don't know that I've ever seen Charles be so public about a falling out. Now, they do leak the things, about this, and they don't correct a lot of them either. But this one seems particularly personal because Tom Bradby is a friend, or at least he was a friend of William's. That is what makes it, Tom Bradby been to both of their weddings. Over years, Tom Bradby had cultivated a relationship with both of them. And yet he publicly allows a leak to go out there that he's no longer dealing with Tom Bradby. I mean, who does that? And it was all because of that moment with Meghan, where he asked her how she was doing. And for that, and if you ask me, that seems to be more than just don't ever try to call me or interview me or whatever. It was as though he was hoping that that was the end of Tom Bradby's career. Now, I am just saying that's allegedly what that means, is that he was making it well known that he's out of favor with me. And then he just waits to see what happens to him. That is wicked. And then, of course, the BAFTA. BAFTA president, Prince William, will not attend Sunday's BAFTA Awards. Now, he said that he wasn't going for whatever reason. But the thing is, the year before, when they went, nobody applauded. So he didn't go the next time. He set it out. One of the bones of contention is that they asked the women to wear black during the Me Too thing, and Kate wore dark green with a black belt. And that was just one of many things that kind of rubbed the industry the wrong way. And so then they go there again. Same thing. Look at how everybody is like not applauding. When they walked in, it was so quiet you could hear a rat piss on cotton. It was so quiet. Now contrast that to the Sussexes. The reaction that the Sussexes get. They have never walked into a silent room. But this is the BAFTAs. He's the president of BAFTA. I know. What is she doing allowing her shoulder to be seen? But he's the president of BAFTA. And he walks in there and people just stand there like statues. Nobody applauded. Not even Elton John. I mean, I can see David Furnish back there. I'm assuming Elton is next to him. Nobody applauded. That I've seen too. You guys go and look at the videos when they walk into the room. It is the most eerie thing that you've ever seen. Nothing. And so right there, William defending his wife by not attending the BAFTA tonight because of the awful remarks made about her. Made about her by a BAFTA member. Really? The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge entrance was announced by an MC, and the crowd rose to greet the couple as they entered the room, according to a video shared by Royal Family Channel above. But aside from the snapping of photographer cameras, the venue was dead quiet as the duo walked down the stairs and approached their seats in the front row. I mean, just silent. And then, well, let me see. Where's the one where you? Oh yeah, that's it right there. I forgot. This is the one. Look at his face. Look at his face. His face says everything. His face said everything. They skip a year, they come back, and it's the same thing. Nobody is happy to see you. I mean, that man right there, his hands are literally clasped in front of him. He has his hands folded across his belt line, and he's not clapping. Nobody clapped. I couldn't believe it. I mean, just, you're the guest of honor. What happened when the Sussexes were announced, right? Compare that to when the Sussexes were announced. Compare it. Compare it. Let me cue it up for you. Let me cue it up for you. Is this it?
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. I said the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. Can y'all hear me? I say it's the Duke and the Duchess of Cambridge, the future king and queen. Okay, okay. That's what's up. It was like a scene from the Birds. Yes, yes, legs. That scene from the Birds when all those birds were on that what did they call it? The monkey bars or whatever, the little playground. They were all just there, all collectively just standing there. Yes, or either that or at the end when the birds decided to let them live. Yep, just like the birds. Oh, so I did okay. They did have the tourists by the firehouse, but we know what that was about. They either thought Harry was there or they were just tourists that were fascinated by all of the security presence and the fire station and all of that kind of stuff, or 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 nothing. But it had nothing to do with William's presence. I could tell you that much right there. That was the only place where they tried that scene, and it was very well timed. And that was the one thing during that visit that they got right. Other than that, there's just no comparison to the Sussex.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Look at the way, the way that, anyway, we all know what happened. So they're a long way from that one, I promise you. Dead quiet, dead quiet. So this photo right here is one of my favorites because, well, just because. And this one, and this one. And of course, this was before Meghan. This was before Meghan. And yet, poor Harry was full of optimism up until that point that he would be able to stand proud with his wife by his side. And all he could think of was the great adventures that they would have. Harry was probably the first one who thought Fab Four. He thought Fab Four before he even met Meghan. He thought it was going to be this great team of them working for the monarchy, which, to be fair, Harry still believes in the monarchy. Um, and, I appreciate the optimism because, well, it is a platform that, if used properly, could do some amazing things. So I'm not going to knock him for being optimistic about it. We should be optimistic about things in life. But the problem is, Harry was looking at the family business through rose colored glasses. He was looking at it um, as something that could do some great things because, I mean, after all, he is a prince of the realm, and that was his introduction to the world, and he has done some great things. But he's in a place where people who have worked very hard to earn their way to the top, like a Kevin Costner, are doing great things without the institution. And that's a lesson that maybe he still is learning right now, is that there's so much more power away from that institution than there ever was within it. Because when you're in an institution, you don't really have room to complain about it. The only way that you can have a strong impact is to be outside of it. And maybe that was his destiny. Maybe that was God's will, was that he was outside of the institution so that people can see his greatness for who he is and not what family that he belongs to. I mean, we all have talents that we can't explain. We can always say, oh, well, their parents were this and that's why they. No, it's not always the case. There's some things that are unique to us. So, yeah, a lot of his understanding of the world did come from his mother. But aside from that, Harry is very capable and athletic and energetic, and he's just smart. He's very well read and well versed about the things that are important to him. And that's not something that a person teaches you, that's something that you have within you all along. So they come from the same household, and yet. By the way, let me see. S, was that you defending me on some other page? Did I see that? If that was you, if I am correct about that, thank you very much for that. I appreciate you speaking out on behalf of Royal Sussex. I'm going to give you a bell for that. Um, okay. Connie Bomber said, oh, that was for you, Levy. Sorry about that. Nobby D. Let me see. Sussex's security guy living the good life too. I saw him drink in hand. Oh, that's good. That's a good thing. I mean, isn't he from the UK and now he lives in Southern California? I would say that's a good life. I would say that's a good life. Okay. Hello, Lydia here. Lydia probably went to bed. Let me see. Yeah, I bet you Lydia probably went to bed. Anyway, I'm almost done, you guys. Let me wrap this up. Um, was this the last one? Almost. I just got like maybe 4 slides after this. Now, I have to be very careful the way I couch this. Oh, thank you, S. I will always defend you, sir. Baron, you are a great defender of our prince and princess. Thank you very much. Another bell for you. Well, the good news, Lydia, I'm almost done. What time is it? I need to be almost done. Good God. Do you guys know it's 1 a.m. here? Oh, okay. So this is very serious, though, and I'm not going to make fun of the situation. I didn't know that William suffered a head injury. Did you all know that? I think he was 8 years old. I didn't know he suffered a head injury. I had never heard that before. I had never heard that before. So apparently, how Prince William's major surgery left him scarred for life. The Prince of Wales became injured during a golf game. Yeah, I had never heard that. Okay. It's fairly commonplace for members of the royal family to suffer ailments while horse riding, with everyone from Sophie Wessex to Queen Elizabeth II sustaining horse related injuries. But Prince William suffered a serious injury playing a different sport. During a game of golf at his school in Wokingham in 1991, the future king was hit on the head by a golf club while playing with his school friends. The hapless accident resulted in a fractured skull and saw the 8-year old undergoing a 70-minute operation at Great Ormond Street Hospital in London, followed by an overnight stay. Just an overnight stay? Okay. Okay. William's mother, Princess Diana, stayed with him overnight, and the following morning, his brother Harry was his first visitor, spending 15 minutes chatting before heading to school. King Charles visited his young son after the injury, then left the hospital to go to the opera, but kept in touch with doctors, the palace reported at the time. Prince William spoke about his injury 18 years later during a chat with a 10-year-old cancer patient for the BBC News Round. I got hit by a golf club when I was playing golf with a friend of mine, the royal said. We were on the putting green, and the next thing you know, there was a 7-iron, and it came out of nowhere and hit me in the head. He went on to explain that the scar sometimes glows like Harry Potter's famous lightning bolt scar on his forehead. It glows sometimes, and some people notice it. Other times, they don't notice it at all. End of story. End of story. So I'm going to just leave that alone and let you ponder what I'm thinking about that. I'm just going to leave it. I have nothing to add to it. I'm just going to leave that alone. But I'll just say, Henry VIII, not the squatty Henry VIII, but the Henry VIII, he suffered an injury while jousting, and that's what happened to him. People say certain things about that, just like, well, nobody says anything about this, but interesting. All I can say is interesting. See where he's pointing his finger? I just happened to have this photo, and somehow it was the first thing that I went to. And if you look, you can just barely see a scar. It's there. It's there. Let me see. Lex says, what is that? Pinas? Is it Finis Gage? Didn't seem all right afterwards. Who is that? I don't know who that is. I'm so sorry. Is that a person? At first I was like, pinatas. But okay. Okay, well, thank you, Legs. I'm gonna have to look that person up. Well, that's that, you guys. Um, recollections may vary. Recollections may vary. Yeah, that's a good question, Kathy G. That's a good question. But actually I heard a squatty talking about that, and I was just like, oh, that's interesting. But what's so funny about it is that I had saw a photo of him the day before, and I saw the scar, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. He's got a scar on his forehead. And then the next day, someone recounts this story about him suffering a head injury. Okay. And then I didn't think about it again. And then I was just like, wait a minute, you know? So that's just very interesting. That's very interesting. It seems like the kind of thing that that people would mention from time to time. You know what I'm saying? But I guess given his position, it's probably best not to mention it at all as far as some people are concerned. Yeah, yeah. Um, I understand Lorna Williams, but I just thought I would share that for the benefit of anybody else who had never heard that before. I mean, I guess at the time it was common knowledge, but they don't really bring it up that often. And maybe if he didn't bring it up that day, it would not have been mentioned. Prince William Charles leaked news of Harry Meghan exit to divert attention. The exit details were leaked to the press by none other than Prince Charles and Prince William, allegedly. And then, of course, Dickie Arbiter, Meghan Markle's private messages handed over with William's approval, palace veteran. Dickie Arbiter said that there's no way that the damaging or the attempt to damage Meghan's case when Jason Knopf leaked those emails, that would not have happened without William and Kate giving consent to it. So that's another one of those things. I'll never let that go. How Prince William's major surgery left him scarred for life. Well, we just talked about that. Let me see. Mail launches. Oh, this is the last thing right here. And this is just like, oh, wait a minute. Nope, that's the last thing. That and this. Okay. So after this, I'm done. The Mail launches its WhatsApp channel. How to sign up and receive the latest news directly to the app. The Mail has launched a new WhatsApp channel providing you with the latest news directly to your inbox. Don't do it. The only reason why I'm sharing this with you is for this reason only. I told you before that the Daily Mail was on TikTok. I told you before that they went to TikTok because that's where the young people are, right? And so, because the WhatsApp is expanding into a bigger social media platform, and because of the encrypted messaging available on WhatsApp, well, for that reason, the Daily Mail knows. I mean, because I'm one of those people, I use WhatsApp several times a day. Some people, that's the only way I can get in touch is with the WhatsApp. If you have people in other countries, you may depend on the WhatsApp. If you want to send files or messages and stuff, it's easier to do it on the WhatsApp because if someone has a what is that, a Samsung, and you have an Apple, well, Samsung and Apples, you can't send files as easy or as easily as you could with your messengers from Facebook or from the WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is a good middleman for certain things. And so, since that's where the kids are, that's where the Daily Mail is going because they're losing. They're losing. Their Daily Mail is shrinking. And this is yet another attempt to try to hold on to their readers, or to try to retain or gain new readers and followers, is by going to WhatsApp. So just thought you should know that. And then, of course, just like with the Telegraph, now this is how they promote their new royal pages, is they use this every day. They use the same, this is an ad, this is not just, you know, a story. This is to encourage anyone that has it in for the Sussexes. If you don't know that the Daily Mail is a go-to hate place, this is to make sure that you know. They've made every wrong move they could make, as the former editor of Vanity Fair blasts Prince Harry and Meghan Markle for their very public profiles. And then it drops off where it says Queen. So that means you have to get curious and open it up so you can see what they did wrong, which is the exact same thing the Telegraph is doing. They have that picture of Harry looking very serious coming out of court or heading into court, and they use that on the Twitter to advertise for people to pay to get beyond the paywall so that they could subscribe to hate the Sussexes. So that's what they're doing. They have not given up. That is why what the Sussex Squad is doing is so important, because without the Sussex Squad, who pushes back against this kind of stuff? Who pushes back? Who is actually giving any pushback? Without the Sussex Squad, it is just unobstructed information flowing from one hate channel to the other, from one tabloid paper to the other. All the same talking points of the day. The Sussex Squad has become a very reliable counter narrative, and that's the way it should remain. So, when you know better, you do better. So, avoid that on your WhatsApp. There's going to be a lot of people that will sign up for it, and what they want is for you to get those same type of news updates that you're already getting from Google, that you're already getting from Facebook. Well, they just want to make sure that they got you covered with the WhatsApp. That's why they're advertising it like, oh, it's just so convenient and easy. Get the latest. Let me see, where is it at? Receive the latest news directly to the app. What a nasty bit of business. Very nasty. Yeah, you're right. And they hire young people, Black Queen, just like McDonald's. McDonald's knows that the future are young people. So McDonald's moved their headquarters from Oak Brook, Illinois to just west of downtown Chicago, because they know the young people that are tech savvy will want to live an urban life. They don't want to be in the suburbs. They don't want to drive to the malls and stuff. They want to be able to just, walk through their neighborhoods and such. So a lot of companies are leaving those suburban towns and moving back into big cities, because the young people don't want to live out there. But they need that young blood at the company, because that's the only way they can innovate in a way that will attract the next generation. And that's exactly what the tabloids are doing, is that they're chasing possible readers, potential readers and subscribers. They're chasing them all over social media. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, damn, here we go. So let me leave something positive with you. Let me leave something positive with you, because we definitely don't want to leave it there, but I just thought you should know.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Okay, so the first award is to Alexa Fullerton.
Okay. Oh, what did I do? Okay, man. Oh, Lord. Okay, yeah, I gotta clean that disk on my computer because it is tripping. I gotta clean that disk on my computer because it is tripping. So let me get out of that. I'll go over here and I'll look at your last comments before we go. Not gonna drag it out tonight because it's already super, super late. Well, this won't happen tomorrow, but I had to do something very, very important earlier. And it was unexpected, but not to worry. Everything is A-okay. You know what I was looking for, though? Let me see here. Oh, this one maybe? Let me see. No, it's too soon for that one. If I start showing clips from Invictus, I'll be here all night, and I shouldn't do that. Okay, so let me not do that. All right, well, in that case, good night, everyone. Last word for the day. Please hit the thumbs up to help support and grow the podcast channel. Thank you. Thank you, Lydia. Same thing here. If you haven't already done so, please thumbs up. Let me see, what's the count now? I think we're halfway to another 1,000, aren't we? I was looking at that earlier. But there's a lot of new subscribers, which is cool. Let me see here. Whoa, just about 300 away from 40,000. I mean, just it's like another 678 since 39,000. Wow, that was fast. Goodness, that was fast. Woo! At this rate, that's all I can say is at this rate. The Candyman never messed with anyone who kept his name out of their mouth. Let that sink in. All right, Marshall, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I like it. People staring might be noticing elbows flying, people positioning themselves to meet the Sussexes. They said it was like a walkabout. They did say that, like the Queen's garden party that she used to have. A lot of social drama for others to be able to say they've met Harry and Meghan. Yes, I like that. Yeah, that would be great. 40,000 the end of September. Yeah, the shorts definitely help. There's a lot of people who don't know that there are Sussex friendly spaces available on YouTube, because most times when they're on YouTube, the negative channels pop up. So there is good reason to keep producing those shorts, because it lets people know that there's a whole community out there of like minded people that think highly of the Sussexes. So, here to that one. Antonio says, "Good morning, everyone. Sweet dreams to some and have a great day to others." Thank you very much, Antonio. Good night to you, or good morning. Charlotte. Um, Charlotte says, "Baron, Sussex Squad and family." Okay. She was saying to the family, she's waving to us. So, boy, my French is better than Charles. The Queen spoke French fluently. Yes. Have you noticed that? Do you know that I spent about 2 hours one night just blocking and deleting the trolls? And there's something about Princess Meghan that really put their knickers in a twist. But yeah, they get very upset about that. And I'm sure a lot of those are bots, though, but some of them are not bots. I mean, I see they have active YouTube channels, and they just, I don't know what it is. I don't get the hate. I could see if you just ignored them, if it bothers you that much, you just ignore them. But the constant hate, and the thing about the tabloid media, and that includes the television, is that it really gives them talking points. It really gives them talking points. And they, just like they did Hillary Clinton, just like they did Barack Obama and others, they all have a list of offenses that don't even make sense in some cases, but they will. And I'm still amazed at how many people still say that the children are not real. They don't get how painfully offensive that is. That's the one that bothers me, is when they say that the kids are not real. That bothers me. Leave the kids alone. Leave the children alone, hate listeners. It's time for me to hug the pillow. Take care, everyone. All right. Good for you. Thank you so much. I think I am going to do the same very soon. Very, very soon. And for others, well, you're starting your day, aren't you? Merci beaucoup, Black Queen. Yes. Okay. I want to go to Paris again. I haven't been there since 2018. I love Paris. So beautiful. All right. So, as per usual, whatever Charlotte says, it always ends with William is an imbecile. It's implied. It is implied. Okay. So, we have that. And good night to our queens. And alas, cue the Ginger Avenger. You know, earlier today, I was thinking about some of the places that I've been. And since the pandemic, I'm like, oh boy, I have got to get myself back in shape. It is a process, I assure you. But before the pandemic, I still cannot believe that I went to the top of the dome in Florence. And then I was thinking about I've been on top of the dome at St. Paul's Cathedral. I've been to the rooftop of the um, Liverpool Cathedral. I mean, it's been a few places, even Notre Dame. I remember I went to the top of Notre Dame. And if I had to do that tomorrow, I would be with the ancestors by night. I would be with the ancestors by nighttime. I wouldn't dare try it. And let me tell you something. By the time you get to the top and then you go back down the same way you went up, your thighs are like jello. My knees were just shaking. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did it. And I'm trying to think where else. I went to the top of it was a few places. I'm trying to think of the other places. Okay, the tower in Seville, that wasn't so bad because it doesn't have steps, it just has ramps. Um but yeah, I went to the top of a few places, and I just remember that it was quite the first time I did something like that was in 2007, and I went to the very top of the lantern or whatever that is at the St. Paul's in London. And if I'm correct, it's 520 feet up. No, wait, is it 320? I know that it was like 520 steps to the top, and I think it was 280 feet or whatever it is. But oh my God, I was like, when I got to the top. So if you ever go to one of those places, make sure that you are in good shape before you try to go to the top of one of those things, because I promise you, if not, it may be the last thing you ever do. You may spend your vacation with the emergency service. But yeah, that's something that I recall um, having done that, but I don't know if I would ever do it again. And let me tell you something. When I went to the Sacre Coeur in Paris, I didn't know that they had a funicular. Do you know I walked up to the top of that thing to where that white church is in London? I mean, not London, in Paris, on top of the hill. I walked up there. I didn't know that they had a funicular. Otherwise, I would have rode up there. I mean, it was an interesting walk, don't get me wrong, but by the time I got there, I don't know, my behind it fell off somewhere. That's why I got to go back to St. Paul's, because part of my behind is on the steps at St. Paul's Cathedral. So if you go, be very careful, because if you step on something that feels kind of lumpy and squishy, that's part of my rear side that fell off on the way up there. The view is phenomenal, but it was I was just thinking about that earlier. I'm like, if I had to do that tomorrow, I don't know if I could. Oh, did you? Oh, did that hurt? Did that hurt? Because going down is almost as bad as going up. Matter of fact, I don't know which is worse, because when you're going down, you are still targeting muscles to, cushion yourself down. So that's a lot. But the most I've ever walked in one day was when I went to Versailles, because I walked a lot before I even got to Versailles. And then when I got to Versailles, I walked to the Petite Trianon and the Trianon, and to that little farm of what's her name? Marie Antoinette's farm, I walked to all those places. And it didn't seem like it was so far, but I was like, okay, this was not smart. Plus, I walked through the palace, I walked through those places. And then after I left, I went through some gate instead of going out the front door. And that was a hell of a walk from there to the train station. So I really messed up when I did that. I think I lost 4 pounds on that trip. Um, but yeah, that's a lot. That is a lot. So I don't know if I will ever do something like that again in this life because I want to stay in this life as long as I can. But how did I do that? And I was not a teenager doing those things. I was already in my 40s and 50s and crawling and to the top of these structures. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. But I didn't want to look like a punk. Nobody else was complaining, so I didn't complain. And just think, people have been doing that since ancient times. Wow. Oh well, like I said, I don't know if it ever happened again. I'm just gonna take a stab at it. I think that the Florence, that was the most difficult one, was the one in Florence, maybe. And that's only because it's been so long since St. Paul, but I'm gonna say Florence was probably the worst. Yeah, that was probably the worst. I want to go to Switzerland, Connie Balmer. I've always wanted to go to Switzerland. Um, and someday I will. Someday I will. And for some reason, my aunt says she never knew why, but she's always wanted to go to Switzerland. And I'm trying to convince her to go, but she's like not sure if she wants to do that, but um she'll never regret it, that's for sure. She'll never regret it. Um but yeah, I do want to go to Switzerland because I like gold, I like chocolate. So I know I love Switzerland. And I found out they have sausages there, so that's another good one. Uh it doesn't take much. It does not take much. Um I should do a video. Did I do a video for Florence? I don't recall. Did I do one for Florence? Florence was so beautiful. Oh my God, it was beautiful. It did not disappoint. It did not disappoint. I love Florence. Um, I had gelato by the Uffizi Gallery. I went across the what's that bridge? The oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the bridge, but yeah, it was amazing. Uh, okay. Okay. Let me see. Switzerland is a beautiful place to visit. Christmas makes it magical there. I'm still pushing for a squatty group trip. Nice. I'm sorry, Nice, that is. Nice is beautiful also. Nice, that's in the south of France, right? Yeah, for some reason, Nice wasn't high up on my list, but I've never been outside of Paris. As far as I've ever been outside of Paris is Versailles. So that's not really going nowhere. So I really do want to see like the Loire Valley and yeah, and I guess Nice would be on that list. But yeah, I got to get outside of Paris. I really have to do that. I finally got outside of London, but I haven't gotten outside of Paris yet. What I would love to do is to have another one of my rail trips again, get a rail pass and just go for like a couple months like I did before. Oh my God, that would be so great. That would be so great. Every 2 or 3 days, I was in another city. Sometimes I would do 2 cities in a day. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go and look at my old pictures just to get myself in the mood. Prague, yes, yes. Prague is Gothic. Prague is Art Deco, Art Nouveau, um, Rococo. You name it, they got it. It is an architectural delight. Also, it has that very scenic St. Charles Bridge. It is gorgeous. Prague is just amazing. Um, yeah, yeah. Learn about the exchange rate before you go there, or about money changing, because they have some places where I don't know. I see. I When I went there before, I didn't use a credit card on that trip. So I don't know what it's like to use a credit card. I don't know if it's wise to use a credit card, but if you have to change money, just I would say do some research. But it is beautiful. I went to Prague and Budapest on the same trip, and I think that was 2009. So that was prior to everyone has a smartphone. And if you could do it in the days before the smartphone, now that there's smartphones, it's never been easier. It's never been easier. Smartphones have made everything so much easier. And but I loved it. It was one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. Absolutely beautiful. It has a big cathedral up on the hill overlooking the city, and all of these like ancient spaces. And then there's some really cool modern stuff, art everywhere. If you like public art, there's art everywhere. I went to a Kafta bookstore, and that was cool. But yeah, Prague, love Prague. I had wanted to go there ever since. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to go there ever since I saw that movie with Daniel Day Lewis called The Unbearable Lightness of Being, even though wasn't actually filmed in Prague. But I used to have like this real obsession with anything to do with the Iron Curtain because it was so forbidden. I always wanted to go to the other side of the Iron Curtain. So I was obsessed with going to the old Warsaw Pact states and visiting. And um it doesn't seem like it's as much fun since it's okay to go there, whereas before, when it wasn't really okay, it would have been more interesting. But in spite of that, I had a really, really good time. Oh, nice. Nice. Japan is, oh, love Japan. Make sure you go to the 7-Eleven. Always go to 7-Eleven when you go to Japan. Their 7-Eleven is so different from the US. As a matter of fact, per capita, they have more 7-Elevens than any place else in the world. 7-Eleven is a very important resource in Japan. And that was like one of my favorite things to do, was to go to the 7-Eleven. I just bought a bag of goodies that, obviously they don't sell it in the US, and just to experiment with different stuff from their 7-Eleven. So that was fun. Oh, well, then you will love Prague. Absolutely, you will love Prague. Prague is beautiful. Prague and Budapest. Now, I went to Budapest, and then I went to Vienna, Austria. And because Budapest was part of the old Austrian Hungarian Empire, there was quite a few elements of Budapest that to me looked just like Vienna. So if I had to describe the experience of having gone to both, I would say that Budapest kind of looked like Vienna needs a bath. Yeah, and I'm not trying to be offensive, but it did. At the time, Budapest was not as, shall we say, pristine as Vienna, Austria. But the thing is, there's not many places that are as clean as Vienna, Austria. Vienna, Austria is so obnoxiously clean that it made me anxious. I mean, it was just so clean. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But still, it was so clean that it gave me a little anxiety. It was like you would have to go out of your way to find anything that was not pristine in Vienna. Now, I'm sure they do have certain places, but I didn't see it. They have a great, if you like to walk, there's a great street called the Ringplatz. I think it's called the Ringplatz. And it's a big circle around the old city. And I walked around that, and that was fun. That was really fun. Oh yeah. Yeah, you know what? I was being such a frugal person. I didn't actually go inside of it. And I went and I sat on the steps out front, but I didn't go inside. I wish I would have. I always call it the Sacre-Cœur. Sacre-Cœur. I'm probably not saying it right. The Sacre-Cœur. But yeah, that is a church dedicated to the martyrs from the Revolution. And one thing I love about Paris is that they always love something before they hate it, before they love it again, and then they hate it again. And usually that's people. There's always someone in French history that is a hero, and then they're a villain. Nope, 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 nope. They're still a hero. No, they're a villain. I always find that about the French is that it's always something that they loved and then they hated it and then they loved it again. And it seems like every generation there's a constant conflict about who is really lovable, who do we really like. Now, is that accurate or am I just getting that out of nowhere? But that just seems like everything that I've ever known about French history is that first they hated it, then they loved it, and then they hated it again. Oh, I finally went to New Orleans myself, and it exceeded my expectations. I did a city tour, and I saw where they had the flood. I saw like it was beautiful. It was much. It was very for the U.S. It is a very old city, right? And so you know, I love how people in the UK they say this pub is older than the United States. Well, it probably is. Um, and so there's not a whole lot in the US that you can say is older than some pubs in the UK. However, when you can find those old elements of the city, of the cities rather, or the states, it is very enjoyable. I mean, there's a lot of good history in just about any city that you visit in the US. So, but New Orleans is very exceptional because of the very heavy French and Spanish influence. And there's a lot of beauty there. I took some photos and everything that really came out nice. What I loved about New Orleans was the downtown area because, I'm very urban. I like to see city planning. That's one of my favorite things is urban planning. And to see like some of the like gilded age buildings in the downtown, these skyscrapers that were built, I didn't know they had anything like that there. That's why it was such a pleasant surprise. And to see that was amazing. I mean, just beautiful, rich architectural details and such. And I stayed in a hotel that was built in 1910. So it was already, over 100 years old. And it was built by one of my favorite architects. So I really got it. Well, the hotel was an office building first. So I really was digging that place. I was so excited when I saw the plaque and I saw the architect's name on it. And then I'm all excited like a little kid at the counter. You know. And I think because of that excitement, I ended up getting a nice upgrade to a corner room. So that worked out for me. But yeah, it was really nice there. I loved it. Let's see. Let me see. Baron, please go to Cape Town. You will love it. The natural landscape is magical. Oh, I bet. That would be something I would love to do. Although when I go, I'd have to make sure that I go to at least two other cities, maybe three. So definitely, because I don't think it makes sense to go to another continent and just see one city. You know what I mean? Or to go to another country and just see one city. So I would have to squeeze in someplace else. I always wanted to go to Senegal, so I would definitely do that. Yeah, definitely Senegal. I tell you guys, if only I was rich. Do you know that if I won the lottery, I would just I would just travel for a few years. I wouldn't come home for a few years. I would just go on one of those grand tours like one of the aristocrats. I would just go on a grand tour and just would not come back. I wouldn't even bother to buy a property because I wouldn't be there. I would just keep going. I would go until the money runs out. That would be my life. I would stay on the road. Oh, bon nuit to you too, Charlotte. Bon nuit. Yeah, it just makes sense. It makes sense. And if you go someplace where they have excellent trains, then take advantage of it. Like when you go to Japan, Japan has some amazing rail service. Take advantage of it. Um, because the great thing about going from city to city by train is that it eliminates going out to the airport and then back into a city center, out to the airport and then back into a city center. That I don't like. Um, if there's a good rail service, it just makes sense for me to go from one downtown to the next. Okay. Oh, okay. Ghana is the place to go. All right. That's not a bad idea. I was thinking Nigeria, but why not do both? I'm gonna need some more money though. I'm gonna need some more money because if I go that far, I want to at least stay for a month if I can. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Spend like a week in each place, or spend like maybe 5 days in each place. So in 3 weeks, I could do 5 days here, 5 days there, 4 cities in 5 days. That would be a smart way to do it. When I went on a 32-day trip, I started in, where did I start? I started in London. Then I went to Amsterdam. Then I went to Bruges, Budapest, Berlin, um, and Vienna and Prague. I think those were the places I went on that trip. And I took a train everywhere. Memoir of a Geisha. That is heaven. Oh, I never saw that before. Memoir of a Geisha. I've heard of it though. I know that. Um, where was that Vanessa Williams went to to Ghana, was it? That was a great video. I tell you, if nothing makes you want to go, did she go to Ghana? Let me check. Vanessa Williams in Ghana? Let me see. Okay. Yeah, she did go to Ghana. Yeah, let me get the link for that because I watched that. It was really good. It just makes you want to go. Let me see if this is the same one that I watched. Yes, this is it. I'm going to post the link for it. Um, there you go. That's the link for it. If that doesn't make you want to go, nothing will. That it was very well made. I do believe that's the one that I saw already. And I was like, wow, I want to go there. I want to go there. Yeah, so check it out at your leisure. I'm going to post it at the top of the chat. At least I'm going to try. Okay. Yeah, watching videos about places I think is very helpful. That way you get a nice overview and you just write down what you want to see. And I think that's like one of the easiest ways to get yourself like get your mind around it so it won't seem like it's so intimidating. Because traveling internationally can be intimidating, but like I said, I've done it without the smartphone. If I could do it without the smartphone, then I know it's got to be so much easier now. Okay. And I don't think I've ever went any place where language was a barrier. I don't think I've ever went anywhere. So there's you'll I look at it like this. You will find what you need when you need it. I always felt like when I'm traveling that everybody is trying to help me on my journey. Now, obviously, there are con artists and pickpockets and stuff wherever you go, but I'm not talking about those people. I felt like I was being carried along. It was just amazing how everything that I needed was just there. So I don't know if other people have had that experience, but that has been my experience. I have gone places and not know at all where I'm going to stay. Um, and I get there and I start looking for a place, you know. I noticed that the further you walk away from a train station, the prices go down. Yep, the prices go down. So just something to think about too. But okay, Ghana it is. And I guess that was my intention because I did watch that video with Vanessa Williams and I was just like, oh, I want to go there. So Cape Town, Ghana, and Senegal. There we go. Need to add one more place though. I'll think of something now when the time comes. Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? In the motherland. Not that it really matters, but is there a Starbucks? Is there a Starbucks? I'm just asking for a friend. Do they have a Starbucks? Not the most important thing in the world, but I kind of need a Starbucks. Some people need a pharmacy. That is my pharmacy, the Starbucks. I always call Starbucks the last vestige of civilization. I always know that I'm okay if there's a Starbucks nearby. Yeah, if I go someplace and there's no Starbucks, I'm like, "Oh my god, how provincial. Oh god, this place is provincial." Yeah, that's just the thing. I gotta have a Starbucks. Okay, okay, that's what's up. Okay, that's one. Where else do they have it? Whether or not they have a Starbucks, that lets me know how much longer I wanna stay there. Let me see. That's true. What happened for us too? Our first trip out the country was uneasy, but now it seems easy. Most places do now have a Starbucks. Good, good, good. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I don't mind trying like the whatever the local coffee is, long as there's caffeine in it. I'm good. Caffeine and a chocolate chip cookie. If I got a coffee and a chocolate chip cookie, I can do anything. I can go to the top of the dome of Florence so long as there's coffee and a big giant chocolate chip cookie. uh, yeah, that's my prereq. Oh, won't that be great? Won't that be great? I love that. That will be amazing. And you just know they're gonna make a big fuss out of them. And what's gonna be really cool about that, not that it's the most important thing, but because I'm kind of petty, ooh, I can't wait to see the way they take it in Kensington Palace. Oh, they're gonna have a fit. They're gonna have a fit. Oh, the tiny cups, yeah. Yeah, the tiny cups of coffee. I ordered a coffee. Where was I at? And they just had the one size, which was so confusing. I want something like in a pitcher, like you bringing me a beer for the whole table, that size, like a big pitcher I want of coffee. And then if somebody else want coffee, then we'll order them one too. I want a coffee big enough that I can swim from one side of the cup to the other. The American size coffee at 8 o'clock at night. That's what I want. I've been to that coffee chain Nero, and then I think was I in Prague or I don't know where I was, but there's a place called Coffee Heaven, and it's like a coffee chain. But Nero's, I love Nero's. That was cool. And I'm trying to think, was there another chain that I've only ever seen over there? But yeah, I'm looking forward to taking another good long trip somewhere. Can't wait. But yeah, I love New Orleans. That was a nice surprise for me. Um, I really felt the spirit of the place. I saw Anne Rice's old house, and gosh, what was the place that really surprised? It was a lot of surprises there. What? Okay, this is what I love to do. If there is a city tour available, I love taking the city tour first. Sometimes I literally buy my ticket as soon as I get there. I mean, I will drop off the luggage at the hotel and then I will go and get on a tour bus. And then at some point, I will come back and take a nap and then go out for dinner. That's my usual thing when I go to another city is to hop on that tour bus. If I can't take it that day, then I get up and take it first thing in the morning because it gives you a nice view of the city, right? and I will commit places to memory, and it gives me a chance to know if like attraction is in a walking distance from the other, because I'm kind of good with directions and the geography, and I kind of get a sense of how close things are and what I want to see. And so that's what I love to do, is to take a tour first and then go relax, wake up later, eat some dinner or something like that, and then maybe, you know, go back to sleep. And then first thing in the morning, I'm up and out like sometimes at 6 a.m. so that I can go and do like an excursion tour or something like that. Oh, you got a cousin that lives in Bruges? How fortunate is that? That is nice. But yeah, I suppose a lot of those places are. Europe is overrun with tourists. Europe is overrun with tourists. And for the locals, it can be a pain in the neck. Oh, you like the cruise ship? I've never done a cruise ship. Never, never, never done a cruise ship. And that, of course, is on the bucket list. It's taking a cruise. I think the biggest thing I want to do is just sit on that balcony and look out at the water. That's like the one thing that I'm determined to do in life, is to enjoy sitting out on the balcony, um, watching the sunset, watching the ocean go by. I can't wait to do that. Now, I stayed at a hotel resort that was like right on the water, like right there at the beach, and listening to those waves and everything. Gosh, that was relaxing. And that was another first for me, where I could actually hear the waves, and I just I fell asleep. Whoosh, whoosh. And it was like the middle of the day, but I left the balcony door open, and I covered my eyes so that the light wouldn't disturb me. And next thing I know, it was already a moonlit night. Very relaxing. Oh, okay. What do you recommend? Because I want to go on that. Well, if I would love to start off with the world's largest cruise ship. Not that that's the most important thing, but that is probably where I would start, just so that I could think about, oh, this is 5 times bigger than the Titanic. This is 5 times bigger than the Titanic. But yeah, someday, maybe 2025, maybe. Yeah, I'd have to really plan for that one. Maybe 2025. But okay, we have just crossed over to 3 hours, I've noticed. Let me see. Desiree say a lot of Americans have moved to Europe as well, but my favorites are going to the non-touristy towns in Europe. You get a better sense of the area. Squatty cruise. Oh, okay. Um, well, I recommend that. I mean, I when I first got out of the well, when I finally got out of London, and I went to some of those like other cities and small town. Like I went to the Cotswolds, which of course is very touristy, but there was some places along the way where I really had a chance to see the countryside and everything. And Bath, when I was in Bath, I actually went to a manor house that is a school now, of course, and I walked from that manor house back to the city center. And it was about an hour walk, I think. And there was nobody around except for me. I didn't even see any cars or anything like that. It was like the middle of a work day, but there was nobody around but me, and I just uh, walked downhill back to um, to the what do you call that? The pump room and all that area there. That was a beautiful experience. Really, really enjoyed that. So yeah, I've been to like a few places where there was like nobody around, and that is a good thing. And if you go places before the tourist season start, you will get that opportunity. Like when you go to, let's say, Castle Howard, I noticed that one of the people coming to visit was a frequent visitor. And I heard the guy ask the lady, are you going to do the house or just the park today? She said, just the park. So some people will go to like these manor houses. They don't even want to see the house. Maybe they've seen it before, but it's a great place to just walk the grounds, walk the paths and everything. You can do that. And it gives you a chance to like see some very well manicured gardens. You could see places that are not so fussy and such, but yeah. Let me see. That was when I went to York. Yeah, I went to York. I wanted to see the York Cathedral. York is, oh my God, York is beautiful. York is beautiful. I mean, it looks like something out of a storybook in certain places. And they still have the medieval wall, so you can walk like all the way around the old fortification wall, unobstructed from one place to the next. You can walk that entire wall. That was amazing. B10 Powers here. Hey, B10. Top of the morning to you. Good Lord, it's 2 a.m. I got to get off of this thing. Uh, okay, well, I'm going to go. A squatty cruise, wouldn't that be amazing? Everybody with their t-shirts and everything. It'd be like a family reunion. Hey, melanated. Oh, good night, TB to be. Rachel Marara, hello. Yeah, Legs. I was supposed to get off of here, and then somebody started talking about Europe, and I didn't want them to feel um, ill at ease, or I didn't want to be impolite. So then I started talking about Europe. Okay, but I did Ginger Avenger, so I don't have to do that. Okay. All right. Love you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Definitely not this late, but I will see you tomorrow. Okay. Good night. Bye from Ivy. Bye for now. Bye.